All right, so we're going to go ahead and start by factoring these trinomials. I'm going to make sure we're looking for a greatest common factor first. So if you remember, we're looking for what numbers multiply together to get this, but add together to get this. So in this case, I know some factors of 45 are 9 and 5, and I know that 9 plus 5 equals 14. And since this is just x squared in the front, I'm going to put my x and my x, and then plus 9 plus 5. It doesn't matter if you put plus 5 plus 9, it's the same thing. For example 2, I've got a subtraction here and a subtraction here. So I know that one of these numbers has to be positive and one has to be negative. And to get this number to be negative, the quote-unquote bigger number needs to be the negative one. So I know that 7 times 4 is 28. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my ends. And 7 times 4 is 28. And if I make 7 negative, it's negative 7 plus 4. And that is negative 3. So minus 7 plus 4. And again, you can write that the opposite direction. All right, for number 3, we're pulling out that greatest common factor. These are all even, so I know that 2 goes into all of them. So I'm going to pull out that 2. And then I'm left with a squared plus a minus 24. All right, and then I have to go ahead and try and figure out how to get to this. Okay, and I don't know if I can get to this answer with this problem because to get, oh, sorry, that's not 24. 12. But to get 12, I need to figure out how I can get 12 and get 1a. Okay, so actually for this one, I do know my factors of 12 are 3 and 4. And 3 and 4 should get me to a 1 here. Okay, so to get 3 and 4, I have to do either negative 3 and positive 4 or negative 4 and positive 3 because this is a negative 12. So I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 2. And then I have a and a. And since I want a positive 1 here, that means my bigger number is going to be the positive 1. So I'm going to have plus 4 minus 3. All right, pause it, try 4. Right, for 4, you should have been able to take out the common factor of 4, and that would have left you with p squared minus 6p plus 5. All right, and then when you go ahead and factor out that, you get p minus 5 and p minus 1. All right, so today we're going to talk about factoring trinomials with a number in front of our x squared, our a term. Okay, so ax squared plus bx plus c is your typical quadratic form. We are going to first take our a term. Okay, if you can't factor, this is for when you can't factor it out like we did in 3 and 4. So if you can't factor it out by GCF, you can still factor the trinomial. This is called slip and slide. So we're going to slip the a term to the end of the trinomial and multiply it by c. And then you can factor that trinomial. And then once you factor the trinomial, you want to divide both factors by the value you slipped over in step 1. And then you can reduce fractions and slide any denominators up next to the variable. And I'll show you what that means. Okay, so for number 1, we have 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. There are no common factors here, so I'm going to do slip and slide. So I'm going to slip my a to my c. So I'm going to take my 2 and I'm going to slip it over here. So I'm going to take this and just slip it over here. So now I have x squared plus 5x and then plus, and I'm doing 3 times 2 to get 6. Okay, so now I can go ahead and factor this. So I'm going to do my 2 parentheses, do x, and to get this, I know I can do 2 times 3. I want to add those together. I do get 5. Okay, so now that I've slipped, now I need to slide back over. I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2. And if I can divide by 2, I'm going to simplify. If it is not divisible to get me an integer, that's when the sliding happens. Okay, so this one becomes 1 because 2 divided by 2 is 1. And this other one, since I can't divide this, I'm going to slide this on up here. Okay, so now it becomes 2x plus 3. Okay, so that is my final answer. And again, you can have it in either order. The 2x plus 3 can be first too. So we're going to practice slipping and sliding on these examples. So I'm going to do example 2 where we slip and slide. So again, 5, 17, 6. I can't do anything with that. So I'm going to go ahead and first slip my 5 to the end. So now I have m squared minus 17m plus 30 because I'm multiplying. Okay, and now I can go ahead and factor this. And I know that the numbers to get 30 are going to be 15 and 2. But since I want this to be a negative 17, it's going to be a negative 15 and a negative 2. Okay, and then since I did this, I need to make sure I'm dividing by my a term so I can do the sliding part. Okay, 15 divided by 5 is 3. And then I can't do 2 divided by 5 without getting a decimal, so I'm going to slide the 5 up. So 5m minus 2. All right, try 2 more. So again, slipping, sliding. Since we have 6, 5, and 4, there's no common factors for all of that. So I'm going to slip my 6 over to my 4, and I'm going to have y squared minus 5y minus 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, so now I can go ahead and factor this. I do know that I have a y and a y. And then to get 24, I can do 8 times 3. And one of those has to be negative because this is negative and this is negative. And since I want this to be negative, the quote-unquote bigger number is going to be negative. So if I'm using 8 times 3, the quote-unquote bigger number is 8. So I'm going to do minus 8 plus 3. Okay, so now since I did my slip, I need to make sure I'm dividing both parts by 6. Okay, and in this case, I can simplify these fractions. So I'm going to do that. I want to make sure that I am simplifying before I do the sliding. So simplify and then slide. So y minus 4/3, and then y plus 1/2. And since neither of these can simplify, I'm going to slide and I'm going to slide. So I should have 3y minus 4 and 2y plus 1. All right, and then example 4. Again, 12, 11, 5, can't do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and slip over there. So I have c squared plus 11c, and then minus 60. I'm going to go ahead and factor. So got my c. The numbers that get to 60 are going to be 15 and 4. And I know that 15 and 4 can get me to 11 because one of them is negative. Since this is a positive, I want the bigger, the 15, to be positive, and then the 4 is the negative. And then I need to make sure I'm dividing before I can slide. So divide by 12, divide by 12. Again, you have to simplify. So 15 over 12 can simplify to 5/4. Remember, you have buttons on your calculator that'll help you simplify in case you just completely forget how to do it. But you should be looking for common factors to simplify. Anyways, I have my 2 fractions. I've simplified them as much as they can go. And now I can go ahead and do the sliding. So I'm going to slide my 4 over, slide my 3 over. So my final answer is 4c plus 5 and 3c minus 1. All right, so the next section is where you're going to try, but we're going to hop down to the bottom where there's the greatest common factor examples. So you're going to try these ones. But with GCF, same process as every other time. We need to factor out that GCF first, and then we can follow the slip and slide. So for the first one, we're going to factor out 5 because these are all multiples of 5. So I'm going to pull out a 5. Okay, and then I'm left with 2k squared plus 15k plus 7. All right, so now I can go ahead and I can do the slip and slide here. So I'm going to pick my 2, slide it down to there. So I have 5 times k squared plus 15k plus 14. And I know to get 14, I can do 1 times 14, and 1 plus 14 is 15. So I'm going to use 1, and I'm going to use 14. So I have k, and since they're both positive, I'm going to do my positive, 14, and 1. Okay, but since I used a 2, I have to make sure that I'm dividing by that. And then I can go ahead and simplify this. 14 divided by 2 is 7. And then I can slide the 2 over. 2k plus 1. All right, so you're going to try these. It's the exact same process as before, just you have to make sure you factor out that GCF first, and then you can slip and slide.